So I want to talk about the difference between buying and renting. People are just trying to decide what is the best route that I should do. Should I buy a home? Should I rent a home? So in this video, you are going to know the differences between buying and renting. Hi, my name is dipo.phillips. It's your first time on my YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Each week I'm going to post videos about the real estate market. It can be about buying, selling, investing, anything real estate related. And all I ask for you to do is subscribe, get the bell notification so every time when a new video comes out on my channel, you'll be the first one to see it. Buying versus renting. So let's talk about the pros of being a buyer. What are the good things to owning a home? So first thing is ownership. Like you are a buyer and you finally buying a home because you used to rent, and renting, your payments for rent kept on going up. You had noisy neighbors. You just sick of everything. You just want your space. So now you are a homeowner and you're excited and you have this home. Now it's yours, that you can do whatever you want. Another pro is that equity. Equity is always a good thing because you build equity in a home. Because when you were renting before, you can't build equity. You're just paying the lender's mortgage or rent, and the lender's building equity off what you are paying for their monthly rent. But now you have your home and you're building equity. And the crazy thing with equity the last year with inflation, people have been getting between 15 and 20%. So you're building equity. So that's another good thing for you being a homeowner, that you are building equity. Another pro is that your mortgage is fixed. You know from now until 30 years what you're paying each single month. When you are renting a home or apartment, you know what you're paying for that year, but next year it could be another $100, it could be $200, $300, you don't know. So that's another thing that is good for you being a homeowner, or a pro, is having you knowing the fixed rate of a home. Also, too, another thing is that you could do updates. It's your home, you could do updates, you could do whatever you want to do, which is a good thing, you know. But when you are renting, you can do any stuff at the home because it's the landlord's place. Or if you're leasing an apartment, you really can't do any updates because the property is not yours. So I've talked a lot about the pros of buying a home, but here is the cons. So if you plan to be in a home short term, or something happened, or you got relocated for another location for a job, it could be very expensive because let's say you bought the home and you had it for a few years and you didn't move. You probably didn't build much equity in the home, and it could cost you a lot of money to put the home on the market and sell it. Another thing, another con about buying a home is it's very liquid, a lot of upfront costs. What I mean is that you want to buy a home, you have a down payment, and after you have the down payment, you have your closing costs, and you have to pay, inspection, appraisal, all the stuff. And if you are not ready to come up with that money to buy a home, it's going to cost you a lot of money as well too. Another con for buying a home or being a homeowner is that you would have to come up with future expenses, meaning like things come up being a homeowner. You could have a roof that needs to be repaired down the line, or that you need to do something in the basement flooding, or whatever extra cost you need to do. Adds up, adds up to upkeep and maintain a home costs money. Another con for owning a home is like you're stuck. Like you are stuck at that location. When you're renting, you could be there for a year or two to move to another place and go over. But when you're a homeowner, you're stuck. Like you have to make sure when you own a home, like this is the location you want to be here for 5 to 10 years. Because if you're not here for 5 to 10 years, you could cost you a lot of money trying to move the location and to sell that home. So these are the cons for being a homeowner. So here is the pros of renting a home. So if something is broken in my apartment, I don't have to worry about fixing it. It's the landlord's stuff. They can fix it. It's broken. I don't have to worry about no money out of my pocket. Another pro is that I don't have to worry to come up with a lot of money for a down payment when I have to purchase a home, because I am renting an apartment or a home and I don't have to come up with money for a down payment. My rent, $1,000 is $1,000 for a year. That's all I have to pay. So I don't have to worry about paying money for a down payment and renting a home. Another pro for renting a home is that you could move anywhere around the world or different locations because you're not really stuck because you don't own that property. So if you want to be in a place for 2 years, you like this location, then another year or two, you can go somewhere else because you like this location, but you're not stuck. You're very mobile. You could go to point A to point B to point B to point C and don't have to worry about being stuck at being a home because it's short term. Like if you think you will be in a location for short term, it's a good pro. But if you're going to be there for a long term, it's not the best advice, because if you know and you're going to be at a spot for a long time, it's a better option to buy. One of the nail on the head about renting a pro is that you know that your rent for that year would be that amount. For owning a home, as I said, you have your monthly mortgage, which is fixed, but you have all those extra taxes. It could be property tax you have to pay, and it could be a lot of expenses with your mortgage that you have to put to be a homeowner. But for renting, you just know like, hey, my rent's $1,000. That's what it is. I don't have to worry about them adding things like extra fees or taxes or anything because that's my rent. I signed my contract and good for a year for $1,000. So that's a pro about renting, because you know your rent payment will be fixed for that year. So now I've talked about all the good things about renting. There's also cons about renting. So if you're renting an apartment and you're there for a long time, a long time, it's been like 5, 6, 7 years. It could be very, very expensive because you know each year your rent payment is going up and you're not building equity. You've been here for so long, you know that you're going to be in this location for a long time, but you're still renting. So basically what you're doing is you're just getting $100 bills, throwing it in the garbage, light it up, and you're basically burning money. So if you are renting for a long time, you know that this is going to be a location, a home, it's probably better suited for you to start thinking the buy route because you already throw thousands of dollars in renting. Another con about renting is that you could be asked to leave, just depending where you are. If you're in a rental building, whatever, you have a lease, you're pretty good for a while. But if it's like a house that you're renting, and let's say the landlord's like, hey, I'm done being a landlord, I just want to sell it, you could be like, you need to get out of here, you know. But the cool thing about it is that there's so many properties out there that you could find to live. If you live in a property that the landlord owns and is telling you to get out because he wants to sell it, you can find another property to live. So that's another bad thing about renting. If you live in a property that's owned by a landlord and they want to sell the property until you're like, peace out, gotta go, then you have to find another place to live. Another con about renting is about saving, because people will love to be renters, say, I love renting, I'm enjoying it, but you might not have that mindset thinking about saving for a home in the future because you know what your rent is, you enjoy your lifestyle, don't have any extra expenses, and you're just spending money, you don't have a game plan. So renting could be, very expensive if you're there long term, and if you want to buy a home, it could hurt you as well in the future. So I've talked about the differences of buying a home, renting a home, the pros and cons, and people are trying to see like, all right, I love to rent, we'll be a renter forever. I want to be home ownership. I want to buy a home. And as I said, it just depends what your situation is. Everyone's situation is different. As I said, if you plan to stay in a location for a long time, it's better suited for you to be a homeowner. But if you think that you're not going to be in a location that long, then it's good for you to rent. But everyone has their own style. People like, hey, I want to rent. I could use that money that I was going to buy a home to put it in an investment account and get a great rate of return. Or if I want to buy, I want to buy because I want space. I can't deal with my neighbors, and I want to grow a family. Then I want to be at home. So these are the difference between buying and selling. Thanks again for watching my video. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please do. If you like what I'm saying, like the video. And guess what, guys? I will see you soon.